父がいるウルトラの母がいるそして太郎がここにいる空を見ろ星を見ろ宇宙を見ろ彼方から迫り来る赤い色
Hello, everyone. You're listening to Ultra Q, episode 78. I am your host and normal show introducer from now on, Brad. I'm joined by Mel.
So what are you doing here?
I'm back from fighting game tournaments and also sending Red a mysterious package that said the rest of the Elden Ring Let's Play on it. And let's just say you're not going to be hearing from them anytime soon.
I tried to do a bit related to the movie we watched, but I think it just fell flat.
much like our protagonist after he does a 6 snap kick to the monster's legs.
Yeah.
So we are back. Red is actually out with sounds like a little bit of a cold. Everyone's sick.
It was like last minute. They were just like, I can't do it today.
Yeah.
As in, like, a few hours ago, they're like, yeah, I can't do it. So,
it's okay. Longtime listeners know that this just means that next week, when all of us are back together, we can do the fucking Three Kingdoms bit again.
I need to finish that book.
I need to get more than, like, 50 pages into that book.
We need to do it so we will eventually be able to cover the Three Kingdoms Toku show.
I also need to just do it because, like, they're covered, like, Three Kingdoms Gundam or whatever on GGP, and I'm just, like, not listening because I'm like, I feel like I haven't done my homework.
I'm struggling because I only listen to half of the podcast because I haven't caught up. I haven't read enough Dragon Ball to be able to watch those movies, and so I'm just like, I can't watch those movies. I probably could if I thought about it, but I'm also like, nah.
The great tragedy of my life is I actually really think just concept-wise alone water margin sounds sick as shit, but then I saw Red's tweets on the experience of actually meeting the 108 guys, and I was like, oh, maybe water margin actually isn't super cool.
I mean, the thing is... That's old as shit.
Yeah.
So there's not gonna be things that are great. Like, Three Kingdoms has a guy feed his wife to Liu Bei, and Liu Bei thinks it's really cool he did that. So
yeah, that's just old shit. Shit like that.
Yeah,
shit like that's always.
It's funny. It's funny that didn't even historically happen. Like, the author of the book just made that up.
Yeah, sometimes you make up wife feeding. Anyways,
what are we doing here?
Talking about Ultraman Taro and other things that we've been up to. Specifically, we're talking about Ultraman Taro episodes, is it 12 and 13? Yes. And also, finishing up our duology covering the American Guyver adaptations by talking Guyver 2 Dark Hero, also sometimes called Guyver Dark Hero. I don't know if the 2 is supposed to be there. Actually, Prime Video just calls it Guyver 2 without a subtitle. Someone please make up your damn mind what this movie is called.
I think we should call it Predator 3.
Yes. Important. Also known as Predator 3 in, where was it called Predator 3?
I think it was the Philippines.
Yes. Released in the Philippines as Predator 3. Incredible. Imagine going from Predator 1 and 2 to that. I can't imagine.
Definitely, it definitely inspired Power Rangers.
Definitely inspired Power Rangers.
Don't look at the timeline of the various source materials. It definitely inspired Power.
If it didn't air on American television sets, like this didn't because it was direct to video, But you know, if it wasn't released in America, does it actually exist?
Yeah. Probably want to listen to the podcast and see, but I think I kind of tapped out.
No, you don't need to endure the suffering. So about speaking of enduring suffering. Mel, would you risk jumping for the beef, or are you jumping for the chicken?
Oh, I'm beef all day, every day.
Okay. All right. So that means you're going to become a parkour master.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I already feel like talking about this is like, what am I doing? The time has passed, but I was gone, which I'll get into the reasons why. But Parkour Civilization took the internet by storm last week. Mel, are you familiar with Parkour Civilization?
I saw people tweeting about it, and that's about it.
Parkour Civilization is a YouTube series that then got 2 compilation movies, which is how I'm gonna phrase it because it's funnier that way. Oh, fuck off! It has its own Wikipedia page now. Anyways, it was created by
apparently at some point I had a Letterboxd page.
So here's the thing: people keep trying to put it on Letterboxd, and Letterboxd admins keep taking it down. Which is very funny. I have a Letterboxd now, by the way, if anyone wants to follow it. I'm not actually reviewing things on there because I actually just don't really care for the style of Letterboxd reviews that are popular on that site, but I'm at Be Invoked on Letterboxd now if people want to see how I rate movies after giving them 30 seconds of thought. But yeah, Parkour Civilization, which is not on Letterboxd, is a YouTube series basically in 2 halves, like the main series and then a sequel, created by some YouTuber named Evbo. And it blew up for some reason, partially because it's written with so many ridiculous phrases, and the concept of it is so easily riffable, where it is this world, it's this universe, where everything runs on parkour logic, and you pay for things by doing parkour tricks, and you fight people by doing parkour tricks. But this is all told through this YouTuber's narration, like in character. And he has one cadence where, God, I can't even really mimic him, but he talks like this, where in Parkour Civilization, first you have to ascend to becoming a parkour master, and then maybe you can become the parkour champion, and even beyond that you can become the parkour god. I don't know if I could do it. I might fall. Like, it's just all that for 2 hours.
This sounds like someone's weird iteration of, like, the fucking Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh concept.
So that's the thing, is that it is... People keep talking about this as if it's this, like... Well, okay, I shouldn't say people. I think most people in our circles probably know better, but there are definitely people online that are like, oh, this is actually like a really smart take on the average shonen story. And it's not. It's just someone who grew up with all that stuff who was like, oh, I'm gonna do my own, but make it in Minecraft. And it's so deeply funny too, because it has all of the story beats you expect of, oh, I am of the lowest class of this fucked up, heavily stratified society, and I'm gonna rise through the ranks as I get better at parkour, and go beyond my station and learn the fucked up truths of the world, and become the best person to ever do it that ever was. But then also too, like, the neoliberal reality hits where like the sequel starts and he's like, oh yeah, I'm basically like the ruler of this place now. I'm not going to actually get rid of the class system, but I'm gonna make it so that it's less punishing for the people at the bottom. And like, it's just kind of stuff like that over and over again. It's deeply funny. It is, I don't think worth watching beyond clips.
Well, you see, Brad, the stratification is bad. Like, the system, we know it's bad, but if it wasn't there, I wouldn't be where I am now. So how bad could it be, really?
True.
If you really think about it.
True. So true, Oofy. So, The funniest part about all this is that when me and my buddy Jake were at Roundhouse, the fighting game tournament that I was the reason I was gone last week, we decided on a whim, because we had a few hours to kill, to turn on the sequel, PvP Civilization, which I would say, that's just life. But, you know. And it's immediately 10 times worse because he... Okay, I should say, there's also other characters and, like, sometimes, like, guest YouTube star people come in to play roles in his big grand narrative he's talking about, where he's getting to the top of whatever civilization that he's a part of or whatever. In the sequel, he gives himself a girlfriend, and he is not normal about it, and it just kills the vibe. It's very bad.
Damn.
He also doesn't like to give anyone names, though, either, which is weird. So he keeps going, oh yeah, my girlfriend, the woman. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's a whole thing. I'm happy the internet had its fun. It seems to be done now, and I think that's for the best. We all had our good laughs, and it's time to move on. But I was happy I was there to experience Parkour Civilizations Parts 1 and 2. That dude is probably making fat stacks off of that for the rest of his life, which I find ridiculous, but that's how the internet works, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes you really do just get lucky. And you're like, well, can you replicate this? No.
Do
you know, speak, like, you know, when you talk about, like, you know, when you said blew up for some reason, it reminded me of something I saw on my timeline today that sucker punched me, because I didn't know. Do you know what that is?
Well, yeah, what is it?
Today is apparently the 3rd anniversary of Hawktua.
Shut the fuck up. No, it's not. That's not real.
Apparently, it's a 3-year-old thing that just blew up for whatever reason this year.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Weird.
This world we live in is stupid.
Yeah, it is. Truly. Yeah, I will never forget. No, I have 2 experiences, because, you know, I have younger relatives. Sometimes I need to go toy shopping. I need to go toy shopping. I don't know how early or what your stance is on how early you start Christmas shopping. I like to get that shit done before I need to worry about it, because I've had some close calls in years past when I was younger.
So here's the thing. Every year my family's like, we're going to get a Christmas tree early this year. And every year we get it on, like, the 22nd of December or something. Nice.
I grew up in we just get the plastic tree and have it.
Honestly, we might be shifting towards that, just because it's like,
it's just easier.
It's probably,
they don't start on fire.
You're less cutting down trees and just throw them out in the, you know.
Yeah, I've ever since I moved, I haven't been a Christmas tree guy, but I don't know. Maybe this year, maybe I'll do it. I'm getting old and sentimental. I've always been sentimental, but I'm getting old.
You're 31. Don't do this.
I'm so fucking old.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it was my birthday 2 days ago, as of recording, the 11th. But yeah, what I was going to say is that while Christmas shopping for younger relatives, this has gone on way too long, I apologize. While Christmas shopping for younger relatives, 2 things threw me for a loop in years past. The first time it happened was when I was looking at, like, you know, they had, like, those little putties that you can kind of shape and, you know, make noises and, like, squelchy sounds with and shit. And on the package, it said, perfect for ASMR. And I went, oh god, are kids buying toys for ASMR? Like, yeah, I guess. But, like,
I feel like
so weird.
I'm just so, like... And I guess this makes sense because I'm an adult, and why would I know this? But I don't know what kids are into.
I don't either.
And like the fact that there's, like, this weird... I feel like such a boomer. Just the way, like, how much is, like, the current internet just, like, doing weird shit to, like, the culture for children. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, probably our parents also said the same thing about us, but also...
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, is this what happened when, like, my mom told me how much she hates Ed, Edd and Eddy, and I just didn't get it. Is this the same thing happening on a loop? I'm sure it is. It absolutely is.
I mean, there's some degree of like you just too old to get it, and there also is like how harmful effects of like the technology we use and stuff.
Yeah.
But
the second time was when I was going through. This was like a year or two back. I think I was in Target and I saw Skibidi toilet figurines, and I was like, oh no, oh we're done. It's over. But yeah,
we need revolution now more than ever.
You know what? A good way to escape the turmoils of online life.
What?
Going to an in-person fighting game event like Roundhouse, which I went to in Glenview, Illinois, and was again the reason I was gone last week. Had a good time. It's a smaller tournament. Mel, have you heard of Roundhouse? I'd be kind of surprised if you had.
No,
yeah,
I thought
not. I didn't know about it until my friend Jake, who involved in the Illinois Tekken scene, told me about it. I think he got 3rd place last year in Tekken 7, actually. And also, actually, I got to give him congrats. Got 3rd place at the Mystery Game Tournament this year, too. So he's gotten 2 medals from that place. Which is pretty cool. But yeah, it was interesting. It was, so it's chill, it's smaller, but like not in a bad way, not as much stuff going on. Like there's artists were there, but like only so many, and like, they didn't have much in the way of like events beyond the actual tournament and stuff like that, but it was cool to be able to go out one last time this year and actually play games. I was expecting to go 0-2 in everything, because the last time I've played fighting games seriously was at Combo Breaker. So I've been kind of cooked.
We were watching Ultraman Ace then.
Yeah, we were. And yeah, I just was not expecting to do well at all. And I ended up going 0-2 in Street Fighter 6, which I was actually a little shocked by. Of all the games I expected to go 0-2 in, that was the one I was like, I probably have the most chance here, just because, like, a lot of people play Street Fighter, and that is a game you are very likely to be paired up with someone who is, like, just starting out, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
Just by sheer population and statistic size alone. But I went 0-2. I probably could have taken my second game if I had practiced, like, at all. Because the person was, like, I would say at about my skill level, but they were also struggling. They were like, yeah, I'm out of practice. And I was like, me too. So if I had locked in a little bit more before the tournament, I probably would have done better than I did. But Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, there were 10 of us that signed up. And perhaps you two can get top 8 in a tournament if the person who you're supposed to go up against for your first match shows up and says, yeah, me and my friends want to grab dinner, just DQ me. And then she left, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then I fought the guy who won the tournament for my first game, sent me to losers, and then I ended up playing someone who was also pretty good. I landed one Raging Demon in-game, which the people watching popped off for, which made me very happy. And I almost clutched it out. It was actually very cool, because, like, it was clear, like, this guy was gonna win, right? But I had one match where I almost took it, except I fucked up and did something that Sentinel can just, like, invincible super through, because I wasn't thinking. I was kind of panicking. But, like, people were cheering me on, and I was just like, this is cool. Like, I'm the underdog, So, but yeah, probably the best experience I've had with the Marvel 3 scene. It was just like 10 of us, and everyone was just really nice and chatting about how much we love the game and wishing more people had signed up for it. So, Under Night, I went 1-2. And Tekken, I finally won a tournament match of Tekken. I went 1-2 in Tekken as well. So, fun time.
Nice.
I need to get back to playing fighting games more, because I'm feeling the rust, and that's not great. That's the problem with those things, is that you take like a month plus break and skills just deteriorate.
Yeah.
And you forget how to do things.
Definitely.
Hey, you know what'll help me play more fighting games?
What?
My new PC that I bought.
Yeah.
Okay, this is gonna sound bad, but as we've established, it's my birthday week, and I was like, damn, I should treat myself, but I didn't know how. And then on Monday, I've had maybe one of the worst work days of my life. And, like, not because of anything I did or anything even necessarily involving me. It's just more like shit that's going on in the organization I'm a part of. And certain big name brands that I will probably not name just to be safe, being extremely stupid and asshole-ish and making everyone's life miserable for no fucking reason. And then having to kind of stay a little bit later to help out with things just because, like, it kind of ended up impacting everyone. So in a roundabout way, it did actually impact me. But miserable day. Rest of the week was pretty bad, but kind of got better day by day. But it was annoying enough that I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking treat myself to something nice. I've been kind of saving up to get a new desktop computer for a while now, just because I haven't had a desktop since high school. I've always been so, like, portability focused with my computers that I've always just gotten, and to be fair, the laptops I've gotten tend to be like the higher end ones that, like, do have some, like, you know, good, like, qualities for gaming and, like, video editing and bigger stuff like that. But I mean, when you do go for the laptop, there's only so much of that you can really do.
This is my experience as well, where, like, from, like, high school to, like, the end of my undergraduate, I only had laptops.
Yeah, well, especially if you're going to school, like, just having a laptop is so nice.
Though this current laptop I have, I got in, like, 2018. And, like, it was my parents got it because, like, oh, you're gonna keep going to school for, like, further studies after your undergraduate, and so we'll get you, like, a nice light notebook kind of thing that's, like, good and has instead of 1 terabyte your old laptop has like 120 gigabytes. So I've been stuck with that for, like, years until I got my, you know, desktop, which is why I have an external permanently glued to this laptop. Not actually, but, you know, it's, like, basically always attached because it's like, well, listen.
Yeah. So yeah, I ended up just, like, using, like, I like I said, I'd already been saving, like, putting aside some money for this thing. If I wanted to truly be responsible, I probably should have waited till, like, December to actually buy this, but I just did one of those, and I don't like doing these, and I don't actually recommend people do these, because, like, you know, dangerous habit, but in moderation, etc. I ended up doing, like, the monthly, like, oh, just pay this over time thing, because I just wanted it now. So yeah, I've been enjoying having a cool new, really fast computer. For people wondering what I have, it's the... Oh, God. I actually don't remember the exact specs. Let me grab my photo that I took and sent to someone else who asked. It's an i7 14700KF 3.4 gigahertz. And then the card I have in here for graphics is a RTX 4070 Ti Super. Which is what I've been told is kind of, like, very good value. That is, like, if you want to play 4K games at, like, 30-ish on ultra settings, you can do that. And if you want to play, like, 2K at 60, possible too. So, like, my computer was $1,800, which is frankly beyond what I'm comfortable spending. But everything that I saw that, and to be fair, I probably could have saved money if I went through the process of building shit myself, but, like, I don't want to do it. I've just resigned myself to, I don't want to be a PC build guy. You know, there are other things in my life I could be a sicko for. That's just one that I'm like, I don't mind having someone else build it for me or doing the pre-built route. Yeah. Even if it is a little more expensive. But, like, I wanted something around 1,500, and all the options, everything I saw, like, the reviews were bad, or people were like, oh, this, like, for only so much more, you might as well get something that's going to have a little bit longer legs in terms of like games that run well on it. So I was like, fuck it, I might as well spend for it. But there are computers that are like 2,000 to 3,000, and I'm just like, I can't fathom needing that. That's ridiculous to me. But whatever floats people's boats, I guess. This has all been leading up to say that I've spent 5 hours of my week that I thought I was going to put into Metaphor ReFantazio, instead into Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh no, I still like this. And feeling shame.
You should sit in your shame.
Listen, I got a double kill with one sniper shot in a team deathmatch, and I went, oh no, I'm 16 again. Oh no.
Oh no.
Back when all the flashbacks of me in shitty online chat rooms talking shit with my Call of Duty competitive game battles friends all come flooding back, and it was a time. It was a time. I might play more Call of Duty, but I do want to start Metaphor. That game, this might be a case of Charlie Brown kicking the football on my behalf. It probably is, but the reception to that game and the way people I generally trust about Atlas RPGs talking about it makes me think that this might be kind of what I've wanted from them for a while, in terms of a fresh Atlas RPG like take on the formula. So we'll see how that goes. I plan on spending some time with that. The only other thing I want to talk about before I'll toss it over to you, I've taken way too long, is I saw Mobile Suit Gundam, the first movie, in theaters because they're doing that. And I don't think it's obviously not as visually impressive, or even like audio-wise, I would say as impressive as like seeing Char's counterattack, which I genuinely think like getting the theater experience changed how I think about that movie, and just being like, oh wow, this is really well put together. And like, it's much more clear on the big screen. This is definitely one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, this was made for TV first, and then they prettied it up, right? And then you obviously got the things where it's like, oh, I know, I've rewatched this series enough that I know all the stuff you cut out, and I'm kind of mad that it's not there. But those movies are still pretty good.
Yeah.
They're fun.
You're allowed to get some good compilation movies out there.
Yeah. I think the worst part about that movie, there's like 10 to 15 minutes of like them getting into the Ramba Rawl stuff that I don't like. Just say, make that the start of movie 2. What are you doing? Like, just...
I know. It is really weird how movie 1 does just end with like the intro to Ramba Rawl, or like, isn't it like after the Sigzion speech?
Yes, and I'm like, that's the perfect place to end that movie. Actually, here's what I think happens: is I think they end on the Garma stuff, but the first Ramba Rawl encounter happens before the Garma funeral, I believe.
Yeah,
but I would have just rearranged those. I don't think it actually matters.
It's not like they didn't rearrange when Amuro's mom shows up.
Do they?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they do.
It happens, I think, earlier than it does in the show.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That first movie is really weird for that reason. It's just at the end.
It is. I don't think it's as weird as movie 2. I'm even debating if I'll probably see it because I'm a loser. But movie 2 is such a fucking butcher chop shop like Frankenstein of a movie.
Yeah. I mean, I watched them recently because of the GGP stuff earlier this year. I did memory hole 2, so maybe that just it is.
I mean, 2 has stuff I like, but it's just a...
Well, of course, it's using the middle part of Suit Gundam.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that none of it flows together well at all, and it's just like... the pacing is all over the place. I don't think Time Be Still is in the movie. No, that's one of my big complaints about the movie version, is like you miss little... Time Be Still's a big one, but
yeah, I feel like I didn't appreciate it when I watched the show as much as I should have, but yeah, it's a cool episode.
I think that movie is like a perfect encapsulation of like First Gundam's themes.
Yeah, I do think Garma hits more in the show because he's like a guy who's actually around for a while.
Yeah.
Whereas the movie, he's just like, he shows up for like 20 minutes and then he's out.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I got some stuff. Well, first of all, finished the first book of the current Shell by Genre season.
Oh yeah, the Mercedes Lackey one.
Yeah, so Magic Spawn, the first of the last Herald Mage trilogy. What's a Herald Mage? Read the book and find out. It's like they're like an order of mages. I want to say it's like Mage CIA, but
and they're all named Herald.
Oh, well, you know.
Not that Herald, the other the actual title Herald.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like it's set in Mercedes Lackey's existing universe of Valdemar. And so there's a bunch of stuff where it's like, I don't know how much is being said of the world building that's just like, well, if you read another book, you'll get it.
Is this the first in the like you?
No, there was like at least 2 trilogies or series before this one.
Oh,
but chronologically, this one takes before some of them.
The prequel trilogy.
It's the impression I got from like briefly looking and also hearing like the podcast is just like she was just pumping this shit out.
As fantasy authors were back in the day,
and it's kind of like the way that like as they say it in Shell by Genre, it's kind of like the era of where you just like find a random fantasy book and read it, or you'd be given it by like your parents or something, and then you'll be like, well, shit, there's all these other books in the series, and it's like, well, any one of these could be your first one.
Me reading Redwall when I was very young and just picking shit up. And also me reading random, like, Scavenger by K.J. Parker and learning that's also part of this huge fucking universe. And I'm like, I'm not reading the rest of that shit.
Yeah. But yeah, this book is pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was from a thing I didn't, like, know anything about, and it ended up being, like, getting its hooks into me a lot more than I expected. Like, it's a real, like, page-turner, easy read. Like, things just go. The pacing's pretty good. Sometimes it feels like things are a bit like, oh, that's very convenient that this happened in this particular thing, but it doesn't feel like egregious. It just feels like, it's just like, oh, it makes the pacing smooth out. It's about like a really sad boy with some issues, and then like, he's got kind of an abusive noble father, and he gets shipped off to like his aunt because his father's like, well, you're not man enough. You gotta be a real warrior to be my heir. And then while he's at his aunt's like school getting trained and stuff, he finds out what gay people are and that he's actually gay.
I was about to ask if this is like kind of like traditional fantasy, but that's it's definitely different from other books of the time.
Yeah, and so it's a bit like, yeah, it's apparently notable for being like one of the first fantasy novels with like a very explicitly queer protagonist.
That's cool.
And there's like a weird queer romance happens that goes. The plot goes places. Some tragedy ensues. It's wild because like the novel is like 14 chapters, and the first 7 chapters and the last 7 chapters feel very, very different. Like the exact middle point of the book is like a real things happen so much, and the entire like thing changes to become a different thing in a way that's really compelling and interesting that I didn't expect it to like go there. It just kind of goes. Cool. And it's like really impressed me. And like there's definitely different modes of like, we get like different perspective, different characters. Like some of the it's not perfect, obviously, because like a book from the 80s dealing with queer issues, so it could be, but also I think it's like better than you expect. Like, it's pretty good. Pretty good characters. Just sort of like, a lot of it is obviously focused on like the protagonist who has issues of like, identity and like lack of self-worth and like ostracization at home, and sort of like the weird like complexes he has, which are like both like some toxic traits that he needs to work on, kind of thing. And you get some interiority of some characters, and like, I don't know, it's good stuff. It's good. It's a trilogy, so we'll see where the other 2 books go, but I had a good time, and I do recommend it. And Shelter Genre is a pretty good podcast, so check it out.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm looking forward to eventually getting to that, but I again need to go through the torturer's journey with our boy Severian.
I mean, you don't need to do the entire podcast in order, I think. Like, I think with like seasonal based podcasts.
But here's the thing: is I actually just really want to read Book of the New Sun.
I mean, that's valid.
Yeah.
Usually I'm like, if there's like a season all show thing, a lot of times, like, this is what I'm doing with like a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh podcast of all things, which is a pain. But if they start a new season, I'm like, well, I can hop on the new season, and then that means I won't have to perpetually catch up forever on the old seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, curious to see how this goes, because I feel like, this is like, weirdly enough, like probably one of the strongest of the books I've read by Shelter Genre, which I didn't expect. Because there's good RC books, but there's also not good RC books. So
yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, it's pretty honestly pretty even on that series. So if the rest of the books are like, if the next 2 books are of this quality as well, then it's like, oh, this might be the best season of the show that I tapped in on, because I didn't really tap in on the Junji Ito season. I ended up reading like 2 of the manga towards the end there, but like that was mostly because like I can probably handle these ones, but stuff.
Well, now you can watch the amazing Uzumaki
adaptation.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
That gif of the people running on the beach is one of the funniest things I've seen.
Yeah.
5 years in the making. Tragic.
Yeah.
What else you been up to?
Yeah. Unexpectedly, I've been gaming.
Gaming? What you been playing?
It's October, right? And what does October mean? It means monsters. It means gothic architecture, maybe some vampires.
Yeah.
So I locked in Castlevania moded.
I see.
I beat in like just over a week's time Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance on the Game Boy Advance, available on the Castlevania Advance Collection on Steam.
I always need to remind myself if this is the one. Hold on, let me take a look. No, the one I played was Circle of the Moon. And,
yeah, so when the Advance Collection dropped, I think like 2 years ago or so, I got like halfway through Circle of the Moon and then fell off because I hit a wall, and I just never went back to it.
Also, if I recall, that game's not maybe the best.
It's I mean, a lot of people put on like it not being an Igarashi game, like it was a different team. I don't know if I like go so far as to say like, well, because the one guy didn't do it, it wasn't good. But I also like
I remember playing that one and feeling like I don't know if this one got the sauce, but
yeah, when I played Circle of the Moon to the degree I did, I was like, oh man, it's nice to play a game like Symphony of the Night again. I should replay Symphony of the Night, which I think tells you a lot of how I felt playing it. And it is kind of like a weaker game. And so revisiting it, I hit the same wall again. I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. I can always go back to it. Especially because like I was coming to like a halfway completed file. I'm like, well, I don't want to start the game over again under these conditions. So I was just like, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna play Harmony of Distance, which is like the game that Igarashi came in and was like, all right, I'm doing this again. And so it stars Simon Belmont's great grandson, juiced Belmont. And like his friend Maxim is going crazy in a castle, and Juice like, well, we gotta go save the damsel in distress, our childhood friend. And they do the Castlevania thing, and by Castlevania I mean specifically the Symphony of the Night thing. They go around the castle, and then halfway through there's a twist of, oh, there's a second castle, except unlike Symphony of the Night where it's like, the second castle is like the second half of the game. These two castles are like a more. It's more like the Dark World and Link to the Past, and it's more embedded in the plot. Like, you're more regularly going between the two castles, and like the way the twist plays out is like you spend like a little bit of time in like the first castle, and then like you get sent to the second castle, and you go around there, but you don't realize they're different castles until like later. And then later on, it becomes like, oh, you have like the map of the two castles superimposed over each other, and then like separate maps for each of them. It has a fun thing where it's like, well, the A castle is blue and the B castle map is green. So when you have like been to both places, they're cyan. I'm like, oh, that's clever. It's like because he's a Belmont, he uses the vampire killer instead of like Alucard's weaponry. So he's like not as diverse in terms of like what loadouts he can do, but the whip's good. It works. Most notable thing about the game is that like on the L and R button, you get 2 dashes, one forward and one back, rather than just Alucard's backdash, and that's cool. Like you can just go around really fast in this game, especially once you start getting like the other movement upgrades. Like once you get the double jump, you just like a lot easier to move around in a really quick way. It helps that there's also like animation canceling with like you can cancel the dash into attacks and vice versa.
Yeah.
So the game just moves fast in a way that I'm like, oh, it feels good to move around in this. Like some of the backtracking can be really tedious. The way they have like warp points set up. You'll just be like, I need to visit, or at least I want to visit this room that's out of the way in both castles. But to do that, I need to go all the way back over here, and it's kind of annoying. But it's not too bad. You got a system where it's like you get different spell books, and by activating each of the spell books, you can combine that with like a different the classic Castlevania items like the Holy Water, the Cross, etc., and get a different spell. Things like that. And the most important thing about this game, really essential, really like drives to the core of Juice's character, really deep character study, is that around the castle there's just like random pieces of furniture you can find, and then there's this room in the castle where Juice just dumps this furniture and he like interior decorates, and it's really funny.
That's funny. I didn't know that they did that. That's cool.
It's like no reason to do it. Like it doesn't actually serve a purpose. But
Game Boy Advance games love doing that shit though, because like in Pokemon Gen 3, you can get these little caves where you can do like interior decoration stuff too. Actually,
I had a conversation on Blue Sky with M because like I posted like I finished the game, and like we ended up that was the thing they brought up too. Like, oh yeah, secret bases too, and it was like yeah. But yeah, it's just I do think it's not the same as a secret bases all the way, because it's like in this game it's like the furnishing of the room is like a checkbox you fill up, and so it's like it's all predetermined. You don't actually stay in the furniture or anything. It's just like you drop it off, and then the room gets slowly more filled, which I think it's a miss. If you're gonna do it, it's a missed opportunity. But it is I knew in advance this was a weird thing about the game, and I thought, well, it's an ancillary thing, because I'm not usually someone who cares about cosmetics, but I did find a weird sort of satisfaction of like getting all the things and putting it in the room.
Yeah.
From what I understand, most people are just like, well, Juice doesn't have a personality in the game, but he just really likes interior decorating.
Yeah. It's like Kazuya from Tekken is a big sneakerhead. All of it, like, just randomly in the background. Barely comes up, but...
I think it's good to just give your characters random hobbies.
Yes. Never a bad thing to do.
Yeah. But now I'm done. So I did have Circle of the Moon on my backlog bingo, but because I dropped it, I was just like, well, I'm just going to replace it with Harmony of Distance.
Replacing it, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess now I have 2 things on the backlog bingo. Some things are in progress I got to finish off, but yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't think I have a lot to say about this next thing, but yeah, I finished a Utena rewatch with a friend of mine. It was their first time too. Cool. And it was good. We just finished the movie the other day. And that is always an interesting experience because that movie is strange.
Yeah, I've heard it gets weird.
Well, it's like operating in like more of the dream like fantastic realism abstraction logic. Like the show already does that, but like the movie's kind of like all that in a way. And it's also weird because like the text is it's a retelling of the story of the show, but from a narrative like where the characters are at standpoint, it's more of a sequel. And like the way things are done in the movie, like how things are presented, was shown, etc. It's like I don't know how you could watch this movie without having seen the show, because like there's a lot of gaps you need to fill with the show's information, and also like there are things that are very different between characters in the show versus the movie that are like playing off of you being like, well, this character is very, very different than they were in the show, and it implies, I guess, you know, it's doing
okay.
It's like they are not the movie can't exist without the show in a weird way. Despite how it feels like a different thing, and I often like memory hole the movie because like the things I think about the show are like I like the show, and so when I think of Utena, I think of the show, and like the movie is like it can feel like an extra extension random thing in that context. Well, really well animated though. Well, yeah, Utena is good.
Still need to watch it too.
Still my second favorite anime. Very good. I recommend it highly.
Another one of those things that's permanently in the I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
Like I know it's really good and I'll probably love it, but I just haven't got around to it.
Yeah. It's funny. I think my friend and I have been watching it for a while because I think I got them to watch it in reaction to the start of Witch from Mercury. Oh, it's barely 2 years old now, which is crazy. 2?
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah. But also it was simultaneously also an apology to them because the last show that we watched together was Gundam Seed, and I was like, well, I'm sorry.
Oh, why would you do that to someone?
I don't know how it happened. I think it was kind of we both agreed to do it as a bit, and then we both suffered because
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah.
I say that as if me and my friends have been watching an American Horror Story.
Well, you know.
Sometimes you gotta watch trash with people. It's a good
Sometimes you need to watch something truly heinous to keep yourself honest about what's good.
True. That's how I'll justify all my decisions from here on out.
Like, you know, sometimes you'll watch a thing and go, damn, that kind of sucked. And then you watch something truly awful, and you go, like, you know what? That thing was just okay.
Oh, yeah, anything else you've been playing / watching?
No, I think that's me. You know.
All right.
I'm like, you know, still gotta watch a couple of the stuff that started up for the anime season. I got stuff I gotta finish ever since like my remote job kind of ended and school started. It's, you know, been harder for me to watch stuff just because I'm not like at a computer for 8 hours where I can just watch stuff. So
yeah, that always helps.
Like I made so much progress and stuff that I didn't think I could in like the summer, and now I'm like, well, I have to figure it out how to fit in my schedule now again. But hopefully, I'll figure some of that stuff out.
Yeah. All right. So, let's get into Ultraman Taro. Well, I guess I should very quickly talk about last week. Yeah. I think and to be fair, I kind of skimmed the podcast just because I didn't have time to listen to the full thing. But it seemed like you two were kind of like, oh yeah, the first two were all right, but that third one had some stuff to it. I kind of am in the same position. My major takeaway from episode 11 is that if this show is kind of going for the more lighthearted tone, I like the idea that maybe, you know, instead of the Ultra 7 or Return of Ultraman style serious episodes we got where it's about the other and how we treat other people, talking about genocide, questions of like the role of a hero, state violence and you know, governments you know, doing fucked up stuff to, you know, people, that sort of thing. Maybe when we get a serious episode for Taro that's more about you know, stuff like family life and the ways in which that, you know, children and women can be let down by society because of like the roles that they get pigeonholed into, that sort of stuff, and maybe exploring, you know, some more like domestics type stuff like that, for when they really want to, you know, swing for it. I think it's kind of cool, and I hope we get more stuff like that as the show goes on, honestly. And it's kind of a neat change of pace from maybe, you know, the heavier but in different ways stuff that the previous shows have done. Also,
it's
oh, go ahead.
It feels like it's doing the formula, but also still doing something different.
Yeah. I am upset I was gone for the Walrus episode. However, as soon as I saw that the Walrus walked on 2 legs and wasn't, you know, a true walrus, I was like, well, fuck this guy.
Hashtag not my walrus.
Not my walrus.
Also, I said it in the description of last week's episode, but I do have to apologize profusely. We did not do a 7 bit for the 77th episode.
Yeah, it's fine. I actually think that one was my least favorite of the bit, because that was the boxing one, right?
Yeah.
We did get the Zat HQ flying off into the sky again, which I kind of forgot it could do, but I love when it happens because it's so ridiculous. I love it. But the boxing stuff, maybe not as cool as previous boxing episodes. But the ant one I thought was just a good, like, the kids are investigating what really happened story and none of the adults believe them sort of thing. It was fun. It was nice. Yeah. It was just a nice, enjoyable show.
Yeah, I like when the show is good.
Well, I guess we can get into episode 12, Kaiju's Solo Journey, featuring Plume Kaiju Vorkeller. Kotaro and his siblings are on a boat to Kyushu when they encounter a boy named Takashi, who is stowed away so that he can track down his dad. His dad is a hot spring specialist, see. He gets hired a lot to find hot water to build a bathhouse around. Unfortunately, he sometimes gets too into his work and ignores everything else, so Takashi is gonna find him and drag him back home. Feeling a recurring trend in the episodes.
Needs to be pointed out, his particular reason is that they forgot the death anniversary of his mom.
Yeah, he did not come back to mourn with his son on the anniversary of the mother's death.
Also, this kid just has like flecks of rice all over his face, and it's like, please, no, I don't.
Yeah, this kid is kitted out. He's ready to go adventuring for a bit. He
steals Kenichi's juice.
He does,
and Kenichi does not like him for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, rivals.
Much like Jun and Pegula.
True. When the gang gets there, however, Takashi's dad is gone. He's been having problems. The landowner's getting pushy, but there's just no hot water to be found around here. After the landowner calls him a fraud, though, Takashi's dad ups the ante. He drills into the back of a kaiju and gets eaten. His partner explains all this to Takashi and the gang, but the landowner dismisses this, and without proof, Kotaro can't say for sure either way. He calls in Zat to investigate, but Takashi is already a few steps ahead. He's on the drill, trying to wake up the kaiju again. It works, and Kotaro promises Takashi that he'll save his dad. He gets into his usual Shadow of the Colossus hijinks. Every time, I'm happy you noted this last week, actually.
He does it so much.
Lot of kaiju climbing. They're really into that, which I'm a fan of.
Kotaro is like a go-getter.
Yeah,
I like to continue thinking this while also thinking he's the boat guy from Ace.
So. Eventually, he turns into Taro. Taro pulls the kaiju's stomach out through the mouth and then hits it with the Stream Beam. Crazy, Takashi's pretty sad until Taro points down to an unconscious body on the ground. And it's like, that's your dad. There he is. And yeah, we do just get a scene where Giant Taro just points down and goes, yeah, he's in that rubble.
Yeah.
Everyone is reunited, and even the landowner has changed his tune, saying instead of a hot spring hotel, he'd rather have Taro's autograph. Everyone laughs, and Kotaro quietly reappears behind them. The end.
Yeah.
I felt like this one was alright, but...
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
I think... I don't know where it's going with this, but this is just a random thought. I don't think the dad was actually eaten in the end.
No.
The impression I got, he was just having to be buried and they just couldn't find him.
Yeah.
Because what happened is, like, Taro, it is an exaggeration. He does just rip out the kaiju's stomach from his mouth which is fucked up. But then he also just like tears it open and sprinkles on the ground. And you get like the gut gobbles, which this show seems to be fond of.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's like, damn, the body's in there, but he looks over like 2 inches, like, well, it's fine.
Yeah.
Though, to be honest, I think like if Taro was like dropping a human from the height they're at, they'd be dead anyway.
Hey, the rocks cushioned his fall. I think that we've had better parent-child relationship episodes.
I think that
so
the way the dad like acts as soon as he wakes up is like identical to the dad from the Bubble episode, and I'm like, well, you didn't have to redo this.
Yeah.
We get like the assistant. Who is there?
Yeah.
I guess I was trying to go somewhere with that, but I realized, well, I actually don't have anything.
No, and I feel that way too about. It feels like there's this undercurrent of like an environmental story here with like how they're looking around for the hot water, and sinkholes are happening everywhere, and that sort of thing. But that's also never necessarily gets brought to the forefront in a way where I think that there's too much actually interesting going on with it.
Yeah. I also felt like they thought maybe going for a corporate greed angle, where it's like, is the corporate greed guy going to get his comeuppance from like his tampering with nature? But no, he just runs away.
Yeah.
He's like, damn, actually, I guess this is like the messiest episode I think we've had so far.
Yeah, and it falls into that trap that I really feel since Ace, maybe even a little bit before that sometimes, but since Ace, we have enough of these shows and enough kaiju, like kaiju/tokusatsu movies or programming in general now, where people can come in and kind of draw on these very well-established ideas and tropes and archetypes, but not necessarily maybe they don't necessarily have something to say, and they're just kind of doing another one of, like, those, I guess is the phrase we've used a lot. And this kind of felt like that, where it's like, we got the rich asshole guy who's trying to drill around. We have the dad that could be better about actually caring for his child. The kid who's, like, overactive and really wants to, make things right. But when it comes together, it doesn't really feel like anything really shines or there's too much of a actual story to be told here, other than just having an excuse for the monster to come out and make the fight a little complicated. But yeah, I'd agree with you. I think this is maybe one of the messier ones. That being said, still didn't hate it. Like, I thought it was... Yeah, the part where Kotaro is on the kaiju. Is this the one actually where he's wrestling with the kaiju and he's like, shoot at me?
Pole vaults onto the kaiju and everyone is like, well, now he's on the kaiju, so we can't fire at him anymore. Nice going, dipshit. And he's like, no, it's fine, just shoot.
No, yeah, it's fine. Just keep shooting. And I'm like, well, you are out of this world.
I mean, he's at the same time he's going, damn, this kaiju's like too scalding.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he keeps complaining about how it's hot. Yeah.
If it wasn't Ultraman, he'd be fucked.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know why they got so Shadow of the Colossus brained, but I appreciate it. It's always a good time.
I think I assume it has to be just because like the tone shift. They're just like, Kotaro and like the kid, Kotaro's temperament and just like the kiddie oriented, and just like, they're just gonna go buck wild with that shit.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else this episode that really stuck out to me. I think the sinkhole effects are pretty good. Remember, we had that like Antlion episode of like 7 where like the sinkholes like looked really bad and like they're
there was Ace.
Good job here. Or yeah, Ace.
Yeah. There's something terrible in this episode.
Yeah.
Aragaki's mustache.
I don't think I remembered off the top of my head, like vaguely. I can picture it, but
hold on, yeah, like I think there must have been a gap between. Yeah, I took a picture because I was like, this is terrible. He does not look good with this. He should go back to being clean shaven. Look at him.
It was the 70s. I can't. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's
Yeah, this ain't the look.
It's He needs to go back and shave this.
Yeah. I don't like how much of like a perfect arc it makes. Look forward to skipping the key.
Yes, you next week. I was listening back to our episode last week, and I got to the part where Red says arc where I didn't say it. I was like, I missed it. Broke the combo.
You fucked up.
You can tell this episode and the next episode are filmed at about the same time. One, because of the mustache, and two, because both of them take place at Miyazaki Prefecture on Kyushu.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, okay. You clearly were just filming the same episodes in like the same week in the same place.
Two-parter, kind of. Well, we'll see if next one is on Kyushu as well.
Yeah.
And if the mustache is still... What if the mustache remains the entire rest of the series? It might.
I think I'd lower the show a point.
I guess then we can get into production.
Well, wait. Yeah, production.
Oh, do you have anything else you wanted to say before?
No. I thought you were going to say next episode for some reason. I was like, no.
No, I'm listen, I can do my job, damn it. I haven't forgotten. I guess actually what I should do, speaking of doing my fucking job, is I should cover the episode writers and directors. Well, I guess you did last time.
Yeah.
Do they
need bios?
There's one, and it's very short. So for episode 10 and 11, so the Walrus one and the Vampire Flower one, we had a writer who was Iraku Akito, and this is a pseudonym for Kiyohide Ohara.
Yes.
And that was a screenwriter primarily known for work on various dramas at the time, and in particular known for a fan-favorite episode of a popular drama known as School Wars. I guess he was responsible for, and he's kind of, like, that's his big claim to fame. And I think only worked on, I maybe need to look again, but I think the only Ultraman involvement that he has is on Taro, so not going to stick around too long.
Okay, well, I had a feeling I hadn't recognized his name, so, I'm glad you got that covered.
Yeah, I was happy there was a bio. Can't say the same for director Kiyosumi Fukasawa, which I've also seen written as Fukazawa with a Z. Sometimes it's with an S, sometimes with a Z.
I think you'd find it's with a Z.
True. But, not true, actually. I'm going to double down on this.
Civil War.
Yeah. Listen. It's tough.
I can't believe I have to be Iron Man in this situation strictly because you're the American.
Because I was about to say, yeah, I think I have to be Captain America by default. So yeah, the director for this episode Kiyosumi Fukazawa. I have not seen any information for that I could track down in terms of like providing a bio. However, I do know that they are going to be with us for some time because they also have credits on Leo and 80. So
nice.
And then also the writer was Shigemitsu Taguchi, who's been around with us for quite some time.
Veteran. Also, I think he's the head writer for the show.
I believe I remember you saying that. Yeah, and I mean he wrote the first 3 episodes, so that makes sense. Yeah, actually, he has a lot of writing credits on this, so I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
I want to talk about... Well, actually, no, you got special effects.
Yeah, I got my stuff. I got special effects directors Masataka Yamamoto, who seems to be doing a lot of these episodes. He seems to be the guy. Also the guy, Yoshio Suzuki, is once again in charge of Vorkeller, the kaiju. We're working the era of, like, 7 or Return of Ultraman, where it was just like, it's just one guy doing these for, like, episodes in a row. Yeah,
I guess we didn't talk too much about the kaiju. I think
he's a dinosaur guy with a big cone nose.
Yeah, I think I have 2 takeaways. I like that, like, it blows out, like, the hot steam or whatever. Yeah. I think that's kind of fun for a hot springs themed monster.
Yeah, this kid just got gassed a bunch.
Yeah, that kid is in peril of being burned a lot.
Yeah. Actually, I guess something I think about it, the kaiju looks a bit more like a goblin shark. Have you ever seen one of those?
Yes.
Yeah.
We all know the GIF. If you haven't, okay. I guess, like, warning if you're uncomfortable with freaky-looking deep-sea creatures. But look up Goblin Shark and filter by GIF and you'll see some shit. But yeah, I like the head of this thing. I like the horns and how they kind of curve outward and down.
Yeah.
I think that's a neat look. It's a solid one.
Speaking of, like, weird sea creature shit, did you know that there's a shark called the Greenland shark? And, like, one individual, at least, from the species, you know, they live in the deep Arctic, is older than the U.S.
Greenland shark. Let me see what these look like. Ugh, there's a crusty... Yeah, this thing looks older than the U.S., let me tell ya. Oh my god, it has fucking... It's been taking the spice melange. Look at this shit.
Oh, yeah?
The eyes are deep blue.
At least I'm not gonna believe.
That's wild. The ocean is terrifying. And every time... Ultraman knows this, actually. A lot of terrifying things come from the ocean.
I think it'd be neat if we got, like, an ocean-themed Ultraman, which it doesn't exist. Like, it probably wouldn't have enough legs for 50 episodes, but I think he could do, like, a...
Even when the base is underwater, it's not entirely ocean-themed.
Yeah, sometimes they forget the base is underwater.
Sometimes they forget the base is underwater.
But, you know, he's just, like, I think you could have a lot of potential. Like, I'm not gonna talk about this since I'm, like, done, like, at least season 1, but, like, I've been watching Sequest DSV, and that's been interesting. It's, like, a sci-fi show that's, like, sea-oriented. I think, like, an Ultra Kaiju show that's, like, focused on weird deep-sea monsters could be neat.
Yeah.
Like, we get, like, maybe, like, one of those a season if we're lucky, but, like, you know, I think, like, you know, if they did, like, a short 12-episode, like, standalone season, that could be a neat thing they could do.
Yeah, there's, like, a lot of weird human drama you could get into. You could do, like, overfishing, getting lost out at sea. You could do, like, a ghost ship episode.
You could have, like, a weird alien who's, like, a pirate.
Yeah, I was about to say pirates. You get so much pirates. So we've talked about tense submarine scenes, or one of Red's favorite things, apparently. Get some submarine. Oh, this is great. We need to workshop this.
Yeah. Super Raya should keep listening to our podcast and come up with cool ideas that they use.
Punished eating
and pay us.
Submarine. Yeah. Do you have anything else on your production end?
No. I'm getting a little of, like, no trivia. Like, there's, like, maybe, like, there's some, like, extra details I can find on the wiki page, but it doesn't feel like it's enough to, like, be worth bringing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna say, like, this suit is made of X material, or...
Yeah, that's...
some design documents had this character on 4 legs. I'm like, well, whatever. Like, I think, like, I used to be a lot more comprehensive, but also there's still, like, enough stuff I could say a lot more, but now I'm just like, this is, like... Even the scant details we're getting is not enough to really, like, matter.
Yeah. Well, I guess then we can move on to episode 13. The Kaiju's Cavity Aches, featuring Cavity Kaiju Sheltar. I feel like it's fucked up to describe this as Cavity Kaiju, just because it gets a cavity. Listen, okay, actually, transparently. 2 days from now, I'm going to go get a cavity filled, so maybe... maybe I just don't want to be Cavity Man Brad
the
over
cavity
here.
Co-host Brad.
Yeah. But who could say? I guess I'm also in fucking danger, but we'll talk about that as we recap the episode. So,
yeah.
Zed is conducting training exercises in Kyushu, but none of that jumping through flaming hoop stuff. Yeah. Oh, they need to bring back the flaming hoops. That was the good shit.
Surprisingly, despite their like gesture like technology aesthetic, they're like weirdly locked in terms of like how they actually conduct operations.
Yeah.
Like they pull out the fucking like, the Joker gun or whatever. And it just works.
Yeah. Then they just shoot it while wearing those little helmets that make them look like they have cat ears sometimes.
Yeah.
Kotaro launches an underwater rocket, and it is the responsibility of the team, including some guy called Nishida and Thunderbird 5, to track the rocket like it was a kaiju. In Kyushu, the team are gathered on the shore where they estimate the rocket will appear, but they get a call from Thunderbird 5 telling them it's going to arrive somewhere else at a later time.
You can tell Red wrote these and not Brad.
This is this is dreadful news for Nanbara, who is from Kyushu and wanted some free time to visit his mother. Luckily for him, she visits instead, mistaking another member of the team for Nanbara because she didn't have her glasses on. This is a funny bit.
Yeah.
She says something, like, doesn't she say something like, oh, you look like you've shriveled up, or like, your face is... So, she says something really mean about his face.
Yeah. Rip Kitajima.
Yeah, it's good. The lieutenant gives Nanbara time off, and he and his mother head out. Thunderbird 5's on the line. The rocket has picked up speed. It'll be there really soon. They call Nanbara back, and then the rocket appears, and it's a real actual kaiju with the rocket in its mouth. What the hell happened? Well, it was chilling at the bottom of the sea, catching fish that swam over it. The rocket passed by, and the kaiju was like, ooh, tasty fish, and caught it. Now the rocket is stuck there in the kaiju's mouth. Kotaro tries to use the sky whale to pull out the rocket, but instead accidentally pulls out a tooth. Now the kaiju's mad, and it starts rampaging. This is a rough one.
It's rough, and you see the kaiju like shed a tear in pain.
Yeah! This thing is not happy. I would not be happy either.
No. It sucks.
Yeah. Nanbara has to save his mother, who is stuck at the top of a building without her glasses in the middle of a kaiju attack. Bad spot to be in.
We get fucking Velma ass.
Yeah, we do. Honestly, it's a Velma bit. As soon as Nanbara and his mother are out of sight in a little Ferris wheel, Kotaro turns into Taro. He puts Nanbara and his mother somewhere safe. She wakes up and insists that it wasn't Taro that saved her, it was Nanbara. She sends Nanbara off to save Taro now too. So the stream beam doesn't work, and Taro and Zed have to set up a hasty plan. This is ridiculous. Taro electrocutes the kaiju in reference to a saying about turtles only letting go when lightning strikes. He then pulls out the rocket, and Zat load the rocket up with explosives and launch it back straight into the kaiju's mouth. The kaiju explodes. It did not have to be like this. It was only chilling. Frowny face. As Zat leaves port on a ferry, Nanbara and his mother exchange their goodbyes, and Kotaro smiles approvingly. The end. What the hell is the end of this episode?
It's
evil.
It goes bonkers and evil, and also I think it's really funny how, like, the Taro's like, hey guys, blow this up. And then our guy is like, yeah, Kijima, fill it with bombs. And then he like walks off screen and then comes back 2 seconds later. That's good. Yeah. It's like, you know...
I actually
he makes a comment. He's like, "Oh damn, it flies as well above water as it does in water."
Yeah, I rewound this part because I was like, "Is there something I missed?" Because I was really anticipating, like, "Oh, we got it out. Now it's not mad anymore, and it'll go back into the water." No, they're just like, "Yeah, load that thing up with bombs," and then they just blow them up. Ridiculous.
It really does seem like the episode, the first half, does try and think it's like, oh, the kaiju's going to be sympathetic, and then no, they just execute it.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of fun that they play with like we'll use that old folk saying about the turtles to, apply to the situation. Which like maybe is a little bit of a stretch. I don't feel like it's is it? I don't know. I didn't feel like it was very turtle themed, and how it looked, but maybe I just didn't look at it close enough. Maybe a little bit actually. Now that I'm looking at it, but...
I think you brushed over it, but I noticed Red's very winking at the camera, noticing that Nishida is just in this episode for some reason.
Yeah,
that's fun. They got him back for like at least one more.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Nanbara mother stuff?
I think it's okay.
Kind of same.
It's like it's not really meaningful. I don't think like there isn't like an emotional core there. It's just mostly some fun.
Yeah,
not Nanbara getting like teased by his mom is funny, but otherwise there isn't much there.
I kind of, especially for like someone who's part of the crew, I think it's kind of a shame that they didn't do more with it. Like I think she's fun. And their banter back and forth is great. I love too when she very embarrassingly yells out like, "Hey, do you like black or white underwear?" Like in the middle of when they're shopping together.
Yeah.
stuff like that's fun, but I don't think that, like, the more serious, like, stuff like that with, like, him saving her and her being like, oh, now it's your time to save Taro too, like, all that stuff, I don't really feel like hits in the way that I'd want it to. Like, this show's been so parent-child relationship focused that I think when you have, like, a member of the crew like this, getting in on a dynamic like that, you really want to make it something special, and this just kind of felt like it was there. I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I'm just kind of shrugging at it.
Yeah, I guess these episodes are like not the okay-ish ones.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's not great. It does feel like I'm more into it than Ace, though, but I don't know how much this is just like retroactive memory. I feel like.
I am definitely liking these more than Ace.
It's hard. It's really hard for me to. It is really, like, I've talked about this before, but it's hard for me to judge again, like, how I actually felt about the first half of Ace, because it's like, it was,
I think, because I know we talked about it or I think there was even some talk about when I was gone, maybe too. But I think if you listen back to those episodes, you can kind of tell I'm not super there for it.
Oh, I remember that at the time. You were always going to check that out. For me, I'm like, I don't know the degree to which I was. I thought I would. I don't know how much I was genuinely enjoying it versus I was making myself feel like I enjoyed it more than I did, especially because of the context of Poisoned by Knowledge and wanting to give it a fair shake, and then having the retroactive, like, actually I do hate this after the retool, and then having just like not more negative retroactive feelings applied. So it's complicates.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that reminds me of another thing that I kind of wanted to respond to that I wasn't there to weigh in on. When we were talking about how, like, shockingly high we were on the very early episodes of Ultraman that we do not give a fuck about now.
Yeah.
I think there is maybe some merit to saying, like, we're watching the Ultraman formula for the first time, and it's, like, new and fresh. Yeah. In a way that as soon as we get way more of the good stuff, it's like, oh, okay, like, in hindsight, that stuff wasn't too special, but it was novel at the time, so maybe,
like, we were going from Alt Q, which is a very different kind of show, to like the first Ultraman thing, which is novel, and
we're like, oh, it's the thing, it was our primer.
Yeah, so we were riding high off of, like, hey, we're watching the Mickey Mouse get formed for the first time.
Yeah. He's on the steamboat.
I can't believe Mickey Mouse did all that genocide.
Yeah. Can't believe they introduced Mickey Mouse with the blowjob angle. I'll never get over that.
That one you just brought to yourself. I wasn't going to say anything.
I don't know how much really more I have about this episode other than I guess I kind of appreciate the comedy of errors of, like, oh no, he's rampaging. Oh wait, it's because of the rocket and we fucked up. And then, we didn't actually help the problem. We made it worse.
Yeah.
But I wish our friend got to live. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't need the kaiju to live at the end, but I would at least like some acknowledgement. Hey, it was kind of fucked up that we did that.
Yeah.
That would have been fine too. But no, they just don't acknowledge it. Or if they do, I don't remember it. It wasn't tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess what I'll say about these episodes is that I'm not bored by them.
Yeah, I do think to whatever degree these are still the okay-ish episodes, it does feel like the bar of, like, entertainment is still higher.
Yeah, for the rougher parts of Ace, and even when we were still kind of, like, unsure and feeling out how we felt about it in the first half, there were large stretches of those episodes where I was kind of bored. And I like actively had to keep myself from checking out and being like, I need to talk about this on a podcast with my friends. What am I doing? I don't have that with this show. Like,
Hokuto is at least, like, a fun guy that Hokuto never really was.
Yeah.
So.
I like the gang. I like the kid whose name is escaping me right now for some reason.
Kenichi?
Yes.
We gotta remember him. He's not the kid in Ultraman scenario. He's like here. He's like real.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, like, them, like, having the Shiratoris in just, like, a lot, in reference to, like, also the Cicadas from Return Ultraman? That's the thing I keep going back to.
I like them. So here's the weird thing, is that in a way, because the show is maybe not so much So, like, Return of Ultraman, it's very obvious that there's, like, I don't want to say a mandate, but there's, like, a shared idea on that show and the people making it. Like, oh, we are going to bring in the family and make sure he has a personal life, and the family push is part of the deal of the show. Like, it's core to the premise, kind of. Yeah. Especially in contrast to what came before. Because it's the second-ish time that they're doing it, I'm not going to count the shit from Ace, honestly, because it's bad. But, I mean, they've done it a number of times by now, and I feel like it's less of a immediate, like, storytelling push or core to the premise, but because of that, maybe in a way it feels a little bit more natural, too. Like, oh yeah, like, it's a show where we just know about this guy in his life, and there's there's a multifaceted aspect to this dude's life where he has the home life and the work, and sometimes they blend together, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm overall up on it. I won't say that there's anything that's really stood out to me that's really been incredible beyond, I would say, maybe last week, the Vampire Flower episode. We got some really good domestic life stuff and commenting on, the role of women in kind of the work work and chores that get pushed onto them and the labor we make them do. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'd also say just think, I think I'd say just thinking on it. Like, I think like what I like is it like it's it felt like Return of Ultraman, it wanted to do it but didn't get a chance to as much as it wanted to because of like production side stuff. Yeah, they got kind of fucked like more present. But also, I would say that like one thing I think Return of Ultraman has over this show is that like, in a lot of ways, like Kotaro is like new to that as much as he is like his sort of like found family kind of thing. Yeah, as siblings. Whereas like one of the things that was interesting about Return of Ultraman was like the Cicadas were like a pre-existing relationship that Go had that gone back a while. Yes, that is true. And I do think I kind of like as characters I like the Cicadas more, but also it's a lot of that's like Ken. There's a Ken in the show, which I think is would be nice to have. But I would say I like the Cicadas more overall as well. But also Aki's not in the show enough, unfortunately. Yeah. At least Saori is here, which I think is like the thing I like. Yeah, she hasn't. I feel like she hasn't had like a ton to do, but I feel like we'll get an episode or two at the very least that centers her more than we've gotten. Also, it feels like that's due. Also, I wouldn't even count Ace because I don't think that the characters in Ace have a life outside of tech. To be honest, yeah, they just don't. Production stuff. Yeah, so production stuff. This episode was written and directed by the same writer-director duo. So directed by Kiyosumi Fukasawa, and then written by Shigemitsu Taguchi. Nice. Once again, special effects director Masataka Yamamoto. Sheltar is designed by Yoshi Suzuki. And I found a pretty interesting anecdote about this episode that seems to come up on like the trivia that corresponds to some of our opinions about how this episode resolves. Oh, really? It does seem like maybe there was some acknowledgement or agreement internally about, like... I don't know if there was, like, a fan reaction as well, but like, there seems to be some acknowledgement internally of, like, the treatment of the kaiju as maybe not making the most sense or being the best, because it does seem like there was a note made both on, like, on, like, some of the blogs I read, and also just, like, on the Japanese wiki even, just, like, there was a point made after this point that there's like, if there is a kaiju who is not causing like actual problems or like doing harm, then they should spare them. Not kill them. I'm happy that this was what got that change to happen, because this one's very egregious. like it does feel like it's set up like it's going to be, they're gonna save it, and then they just kind of last minute go lol mala blow it up. It really does feel opposite of everything like plot wise that's led up to that moment. Yeah, it's very weird. And it does also just feel like if they're going to keep doing that, if they're going to go that direction, it does make it feel like they're trying... maybe it's just like a case of like Ultraman trying to become more honest about sticking to the things it claims to be. Because it does feel like we'll probably have disagreements of like the perception of Ultraman compared to how it's actually like on the screen. But at the very least, if they're actually like, well, we're not going to just kill a kaiju for existing, then maybe it'll be like a better at actually sticking to that kind of thing. Yeah. Listen to our Ace finale where we talk about that. Yeah. Do you have anything else, or should
Nah.
we... All right. Well, I think it's time to bio boost on out of here.
Yeah.
It's time to talk about Guyver 2, Dark Hero.
Dark Hero.
Okay, so I guess real quick, Screaming Mad George no longer with us.
Oh, he died?
No,
yeah, I didn't...
just not on this movie.
Oh, okay.
Instead directed by Steve Wang, who was also co-directed the first film, and then written by Nathan Long, who I think is mostly like a novel person. And yeah, I don't know. Oh, I guess also wrote for Kamen Rider Dragon Knight along with Steve Wang. That's the other big thing they did, like toku-wise beyond this. So,
yeah. Also, they replaced the lead actor with a guy who can act.
Yeah. So, no more whatever the fuck that other dude's name was. Sean Barker is played by a man you may have heard of. David Hayter. Perhaps you have heard of him. If not, you may recognize him from iconic roles such as Bernie from Gundam 0080, War in the Pocket. Additional voices in Street Fighter 2V. And, of course, last but not least, Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. It is weird to just recast a guy, but also, when it's an upgrade, I don't mind. It's fine.
Do you think when fucking they brought in Kiefer Sutherland for Metal Gear Solid 5, David Hayter's like, wow, this is a real Guyver 2 Dark Hero situation I found myself in.
They really bio-boosted me out of there. This is actually Venom punished Sean.
Yeah. And yeah, David Hayter, he can act. He's doing all right.
Yeah.
Should I just get into the summary? We got about a paragraph here. Okay. Thank you once again, Red, for the summaries this week.
I didn't know I did a summary for the movie.
Yeah, it's short. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Sean Barker, suffering from chronic vigilantism brought on by the Guyver suit, breaks up with his GF from the first movie and goes to an archaeological dig. Why? He's searching for cave paintings that match the strange images he's been seeing in his dreams.
Men will literally go to Utah instead of going to therapy.
I always forget that the dig is in Utah. It's so funny. He makes an impression on a woman named Corey, the daughter of the man leading the dig, and she sneaks Sean onto the site where they are secretly digging for alien remains. After digging up and exploring a spaceship, the project is revealed to be even more secretly backed by Zoanoids, who are not aliens. I got all the lore wrong in the last podcast, I'm sorry. Yeah, made by the aliens. Sean, equipped with the newfound knowledge that Zoanoids and the Guyver are all the bioengineered byproducts of alien military projects, decides nobody should have the spaceship. Sean defeats the Zoanoids, launches the ship into space, and then drives off into the sunset with Corey, who has lost her dreams, her career, and her dad. At least she is David Hayter. The end. And then side note, did you know that for most of his anime dubbing credits, David Hayter is credited as Sean Barker? That's fun. I didn't actually know that. Cool.
Anyway, this was a real movie?
Yeah.
Which is fun because it felt more real than the first one.
So I will say I do like this movie more. I kind of already knew that going in, like I've said. I've rewatched this movie, like, I would say this is maybe like the 5th time in my life I've seen this movie. Childhood classic, favorite of mine, I would say.
Childhood classic R-rated movie.
Yeah, well, you know, as you do, sometimes your cousin who is highly influential on, taste making in your life and recommending you the cool shit, shows you stuff that maybe you shouldn't see. But, that's also how I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, way too fucking young. But yeah, I think overall this is a way better movie. It's an upgrade. Yeah. I think we're with the consensus on that.
First of all, it helps to have a tone that is consistent.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd say the humor in this movie is great, but it's better than whatever the fuck was in the first Guyver.
We don't get the racist rapping Zoanoid.
Nope. You know what's funny is I kept trying to remember between rewatching this. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's not in this one.
He's not.
Or that other guy. And then I was like, yeah, they're not. They're not at all.
What was their job? Well, maybe Atkins got him.
Yeah.
Just so you know, there is an FBI guy in this movie. I thought he was going to be the second writer, but he wasn't.
Yeah, because he keeps playing around with the case. Both of these movies have scenes where it's like, oh, are we gonna get a second ally Guyver?
And
and then they're like, nah.
In the Guyver manga, there are more than one Guyver. So,
yeah, there are 2 Guyver 2s for some reason.
That's stupid.
Yeah, well, one's a man, one's a woman, if I recall correctly.
Oh, Ultraman Ace.
Yeah. And then there's Guyver 3. But yeah, no, instead what we get is that the Zoanoid becomes a Guyver Zoanoid at the end, but then gets defeated easily because...
It's a cool suit, but he is a loser.
Yeah.
He's extremely not a charismatic villain.
Yeah, I love his name. He has such a villain-ass villain name.
He's like Frank Crane or something.
Arlen Crane.
Oh, Arlen Crane. Yeah. Opening shot of the movie is really funny because it's like 1 minute in and you just get like the fucking security guard with blood all over the thing. I'm like, this is an R-rated movie, unlike the first one.
Oh yeah. It's funny going from like the kind of like dash of alien body horror, but at the end of the day superhero tone of Guyver 1, and then Guyver 2 starts with David Hayter is being compelled to kill by the alien that is embedded in him. Yeah,
he slashes like a drug lord's throat.
Yeah.
It felt like, you know, him doing vigilantism on drug lords felt like this is a cop brain movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not cop brain enough to trust the FBI, but it does trust the FBI to have a good one in their ranks, which is not true.
Yeah.
Hear that? The person reading this and listening to this? You're not good.
It's so funny how little the FBI guy ends up mattering in many ways. He
feels like he does like a clean operation and manages to harass the Zoanoids, but because they have like one guy on the back, he get all these other men get killed.
Yeah. And I guess he helps out in the final fight sequence, but also too it doesn't matter because the suitcase he's trying to protect already has the thing taken out of it, so it ended up not mattering.
Yeah. The Guyver suit in this one, I think it looks better.
So here's the weird thing, and I'll say there's 2 things I do think I think maybe since the first time since I was introduced to these movies, which I watched them like back to back literally the same day, these are probably the closest I've watched both of these movies like in a short time frame from each other. I do think that while the suits overall look better, I do think the influence of Screaming Mad George is felt in that first movie, and his absence here unfortunately does mean that there's a little bit less of like we don't really get as much like attention to detail on like stuff opening up or like steam shooting out of the faces, and like that stuff is still kind of there, but it's a little downplayed. I don't think it looks as good. But the suits pound for pound do just look a lot cleaner and refined. I
think the suit, this one also looks close to the manga design.
Oh, absolutely.
It's got the blue coloring too.
Yeah. And people, in general, I'd say that people feel like they're a little... this could just be the actors, it could be how they made the suits, maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. People in the suits feel a little more comfortable, I'd say, than in the first movie, where it sometimes felt like, oh, they can't see in these things.
Yeah.
The other, I guess, real quick.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is I do think that the first half of this movie is way too long.
This probably doesn't need to be 2 hours.
No, it could have been a clean hour and a half, maybe. There's a lot of archaeology stuff in caves, bad relationship stuff that I don't think really works at all. I do not think the relationship in this movie is all that good.
Yeah, is it better than the last one?
I think it is. But yeah. What were you gonna say though?
I like that there's extended action sequences in this movie that happen in the daytime and they look good.
Yeah.
The eye was popping off during that because I was like, damn, this is a really sick looking daytime fight scene, because we didn't get that in the first movie at all. It was all in dark and like dark places and at night. And this one's like, yeah, it's in the open and it's cool.
Yeah, they're fighting all over. They're fighting in like little like valleys and in streams and caves. They're fighting all over the place.
I think like fighting in the woods too is kind of cool. Like, yeah, it's like, he bursts out of the water and decapitates the guy. It's pretty sick.
Sometimes you jump off of a cliff and then before you become a pancake on the ground, you yell Guyver, and then start running at Mach speed to save your GF.
Yeah.
It was sick. You know what I will say actually too? When he transforms and all of the stuff comes out of his back, that does not look as good as the first movie.
I guess they had a little bit of a lower budget here.
Absolutely. However, they make up for it in different ways. Like you said, the suits themselves look better. They're doing stuff with like, you know, variety of sets and locations and like times of day. The choreography, huge step up.
Yeah. Notable because it's the stunt debut of Koichi Sakamoto, who would go on to become like I think he's doing like stunt work as a character in this movie when I looked, but like he'll go on to like first do like stunt coordination stuff in Power Rangers for a while before moving back to Japan and like doing like directorial stuff with Toei and Tsuburaya.
Oh, that's neat.
So we'll get shows directed by him in the future.
Cool.
So perhaps is weirdly like fortuitous that we actually covered this movie.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think like fucking the weenie guy Crane, him trying to be like he's not charismatic villain, and him trying to pull the "we're not so different, you and I" thing is kind of dumb.
It was whatever.
He did feel like this is the lamest guy to become the second rider thing, but his suit when he becomes like the second Guyver is pretty cool.
Yeah, I also like the angle of it of that Guyver unit is damaged and you are not going to live much longer, and he just doesn't care because he wants the power is really good.
It is a bit weird. We only get like scanline zoom calls with like the new CEO guy of Kronos. He's just like not resolved.
Well, that's for Guyver 3, which never got made. No. I don't even think they ever were in talks to make one, but
yeah. Dude, this Shame Red isn't here to talk about this movie.
Yeah, I'm curious if how they felt about it.
Yeah, they said they gave their TLDR, but they'll probably talk about it in a run back next week.
Yeah, that's fine.
But they said they appreciated that there's actual fight choreography.
Yeah.
And they said the TLDR is, it might not be a very good movie, but it's a sick movie.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is like peak throw on something stupid to have a fun time with movie. Like it's of that direct to video. This, you know what actually I think it is that like this is the ideal when video rental stores still existed, like hidden gem type of thing that you find in the rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is probably how my cousin found it, I have to imagine. Like I don't know how else. But yeah, just I hate to be we don't make them like they used to, but this type of caliber / tier of movie I feel like just unfortunately doesn't exist now unless it's like a crowdfunded internet thing or like big YouTube channel with like Patreon funding sort of
it's
thing.
Like for I guess like between monopolization and like the cost of everything rising, it's just like you only have like the biggest budget things and like maybe movies or games or stuff like that, and like the B tier like or even like C tier indie stuff is like really hard to get any, like you have to basically self or crowdfund it to get anywhere with it.
Yeah, or pray that streaming is interested in your thing, but even then, the variety there is not. You're not going to get American Toku via streaming services. I feel there's just no money in that. So,
it is fun once again, just being like, damn, this is like it's just a Kamen Rider thing, but that's just because Guyver, the manga, is guy who watched Kamen Rider doing a Kamen Rider thing.
Yeah, he's like, what if this was more sicko about like the transformation stuff?
But it is fun, to have those themes being like transported exactly into American made work.
Yeah. I appreciate the tasteful because I think I complained about it last time around about like sometimes it feels like they don't know what to do with the arm blades versus like an anime or manga. I feel like we get very tasteful cuts with the arm blades in this movie. Like at the beginning, it sets the tone with he just slashes a drug dealer's throat with the arm blade, and we kind of get stuff like that throughout the movie where just like every now and again he'll cut something off.
We need to talk about how he uses his forehead lasers to carve the name Guyver into a warehouse cargo.
Why would
thing.
he do that?
And then it turns into the logo of the movie.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's a very good title sequence. I also love how when he's living in his apartment on his own, he has like the generic like newspaper clippings of everything that he's done pinned up on the wall. I'm just like, you should never have guests over. That is suspicious as hell.
Yeah. It is funny how, like, Corey asked him the first night. He's like, okay, now I should not have brought you here. I brought you in on goodwill. Can you tell me what's going on? And he just like deflects and on, I can't, I want to, but I can't, I can't. And like on one hand, it's like, well, he obviously can't because it's ridiculous. But on the other hand, he acts so indignant when she's like, well, maybe I should just kick you out then, because this is the reasonable response that she's having.
Yeah.
But I feel like the movie wants us to be on his side, where it's like, well, listen, she's being like very normal about this. She gave you more rope than you probably deserved in the circumstances.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get some water. Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
But yeah, what I was going to say is I feel like this movie, and I mean, you kind of do get this, and they do it in a roundabout way, but I kept watching this movie thinking it would be, like, better if they had a scene where he just transforms in front of her and tells her the deal, instead of waiting for it to happen because of the action. And I felt like they could have maybe... It would have been better for both the relationship angle and also actually dealing with, like, Sean's plight of, like, what's my role here as a person that has this thrust upon him, where, there's just this general, I guess, tone of, like, acceptance that they kind of go for at the end, with her being like, no, I think you're doing the right thing, and, you're still you, sort of thing. And I feel like you could have had it during the part of the movie that's still actually pretty slow and character, like, dialogue driven. I think that they could have maybe somewhere in the halfway mark have actually done a scene where he just transforms and reveals to her, like, what exactly is going on.
The thing is, at the first night, it kind of makes sense. They drag his feet a bit. But, like, by the time that he's like, hey, by the way, we're looking for alien shit, and we found a spacecraft, he should be able to, like, be able to come clean a bit more.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's stuff, because, like, he's like, well, surely she'd, like, be more willing to accept this. And the fact that she, like, doesn't believe it later almost feels kind of silly. Like, it feels like it's, like, creating conflict for the sake of it. It's just like, listen, they're so annoyed. It's like, well, you're crazy. I thought you'd take me seriously, kind of thing. And it's like, well, I don't know. Why is she acting like that?
And I think the only the only shred of chemistry I feel that these two have is that bit about, like, them bouncing and kind of joking around off of each other, like, oh, hey, I can't tell you more about my past. It's a secret, haha. And I feel like if you... there's maybe a little bit of sauce there if you made it a thing where they're slowly starting to come to terms with trusting each other and revealing, like, hey, here's what's actually going on with me. Here's what's happening with the situation. But instead, we just kind of wait until everything pops off with the Zoonoids. for him to transform and reveal all the stuff, and it just feels, I don't know, I feel like if they had taken that a little more of a different direction, it would have actually done a better job on selling me on the characters.
Yeah, and then he saves her and her dad, and then she's like, it was actually so very brave of you to come out to me.
Yeah. That was the thing.
And then they make out.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If they made a Guyver 3, that should also start with him breaking up with Corey, and then he meets a new woman.
Bond girling it?
Yeah. It'd be funny. Can you imagine if they did a Guyver 3 where they got David Hayter back, but, like, as an older guy, and he's like, I need to pass on the Guyver to the next generation? I want this now more than anything. It'll never be made. There's no money in this.
Guyver, not alive and well.
No. Yeah, I honestly, though, after this, I do kind of want to go back and, like, see if I can, read the manga as it exists. Yeah. I don't think all of it's translated by, like, scanners yet, even.
And maybe we got the 80s OVAs, and then also, like, the aughts anime as well.
That I've seen. I watched the mid-2000s TV show. I liked its OP a lot, actually. And I remember having a pretty good time with that, but I was also fairly young.
Yeah, I know that, obviously the aughts one adapts more of the manga just because it's longer.
Yeah.
And, like, it's later in the manga's life, but,
Yeah. The OVA I've heard is sick, but I've never watched it. I'm sure it'd be a good time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jack Armstrong was the old actor's name. I can't believe he didn't want to come back for the sequel. Good thing he didn't.
Yeah. It's really funny that Mark Hamill is on the poster of the first movie.
Yeah. Do we have anything more to say about the Guyver 2 Dark Hero?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun time. You got to get it off your bucket list and force us to watch it. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun revisiting this, having seen a lot more Toku.
Yeah, I mean, you have the context for how it, if you were a different person with maybe zero context of Toku and anime and no curiosity, you might even say that you probably think this inspired Power Rangers, maybe. But I'm so mean to this one person whose podcast I haven't listened to.
Listen, sometimes someone's out here just showing how much they don't know, and it's like, okay.
It's okay, I'm not naming them, they'll never listen to us, but I do think, like, the degree of, like,
that is something that one trip to Wikipedia could clarify.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can look up these things very, very easily. I think I saw you did an interview with, like, Corey's actress, too. And I'm like, damn, you put in the effort for that, but you won't even look up Wikipedia the thing?
Me watching Blade Runner, I think that Cyberpunk game might be related to this somehow.
One of the funniest scenes, we talked about this before, at least I have read, but one of the funniest scenes in Psycho-Pass is just, like, the villain and his a sidekick. They're just talking about, like, hey, have you ever read Philip K. Dick?
Oh yeah, that's right, because Red's not here, I can't talk about my Psycho-Pass thing I was going to talk about.
I'll save for next week.
I'll keep them waiting another week.
Did you enjoy me talking about RoboCop, by the way? Yes,
I did, actually. I'm happy you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Would you buy that for $1?
Ah. I wanted you to be there when I got to it, but it was like, it didn't work out.
It's how it goes. The thing I was actually terrified about is if I was going to miss you on Berserk, which I don't know where you're at with that, but...
No, unfortunately, the way things have panned out, I just haven't been able to read more.
Yeah.
And also, like, probably, like, well, I should prioritize reading Dragon Ball so I can actually watch the movies along with GGP, which I'm definitely behind on, but, like,
Yeah. How deep into Berserk are you? Like,
I literally just got to the end of Golden Age, so, like, past the manga, but, like, I have to start Conviction.
Okay. All right. That is good to know.
Yeah.
I think we've clearly said all we needed to say about Guyver. Oh, you know what? Actually, I have one more thing about Guyver 2 Dark Hero. He doesn't use the fucking cannon, like the chest cannon.
He does once.
Does he?
At the end. He puts out the villain.
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does. To blow the... Yeah, never mind.
Like, he's already dying, but it is just kind of like the... put him out of his misery, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it is, yes. I was expecting more of it, though, than what we got. But that's probably just coming off of the first movie where it's a big... They make a bigger deal out of it, but...
Yeah. But yeah, this is a fun experiment. Maybe if the numbering needs tweaking, we can find another duologies to do in future seasons.
We can find more American... I'm gonna look up American Tokusatsu and see if anything comes up that isn't this or Power Rangers. Oh, there's an IMDb list someone made.
Yeah. We'll see. Because not every season will have the numbering needed.
Yeah. Oh, this is
Leo is a blissful 51, which means we'll do 3s all the way through.
Nice.
Like Return of Ultraman.
I was about to say, have we been able to do that yet? But yeah.
It was like, I think OG Ultraman because it was 39, and then Return of Ultraman.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that covers it. Next week, our Guyver experiment having been completed, we're back to just we're 3 episodes all the way through now, correct?
Yep, it's just normal now.
Yeah, it's just normal now. So we'll be watching episodes 14 through 16 of Ultraman Taro.
Yeah.
And hopefully continuing to have a lighthearted, fun-filled time. And who knows?
Are you ending the podcast?
I think so. Oh, no. Wait, no! We have a bunch of stuff I'm so bad at this. We do. We have color timers. We have emails.
Yes. All right.
Oh, no. I am bad at my job.
Anyway, color timers.
Yeah.
Episode 12, 3 minutes, 36 seconds. Episode 13, 3 minutes, 51 seconds. Again, works. Tisk.
Yeah.
Also, my timeline provided me with bonus trivia, which I'm bringing to this segment.
Okay.
And I will link a tweet in a second. But first, I'll do some setup. Whatever. So, in the 80s, there was this manga. It's called Mina Agachao. It translated to English as I'll Give It My All. And apparently it's an erotic romantic comedy. And it ran from 1982 to 1987.
Okay.
In 1985, it got a live action adaptation, directed by Shusei Kaneko. He would later go on to direct in the 90s and aughts the Hasegamera trilogy and Godzilla GMK.
Okay.
In the opening scene of this movie, for whatever reason, the protagonist, the female heroine, has a dream. And in this dream, she meets Mother of Ultra, who tells her she's about to meet the man of her dreams. And apparently, according to Kaneko, on top of like the usual like fees, part of the royalty cost was that Mother of Ultra the part of the cost would be that Mother of Ultra, for showing out this movie, would be 30,000 yens per second.
Whew.
Now, I saw this and was like, well, me bringing this to the table is not enough. We need to go further. This is 1985. What is the cost of 30,000 yen per second adjusted for inflation?
Yeah.
In the current year, that is 38,915.93 yen. In the current year.
Okay.
In US dollars, that's $260.96. Canadian dollars, $359.25. And then 199 pounds sterling and then 68 pence. Per second. Now, I didn't get an exact count, because, I don't know if I have the whole scene, but based on this video, Mother of Ultra is in the movie for at least 1 minute. That's 60 seconds. So at the time, he would have spent about, like, 1,800,000 yen. Which, in today's money, would be 2,334,956.06 yen. Or, in today's US dollars, 15,657.71. Canadian dollars, 21,555.19. And then British pounds, 11,980.80 pence.
That's ridiculous.
So, if you want to know how much Mother of Ultra is worth, there's your answer.
I would just have, like, made a character that's similar but not exactly.
Yeah.
And saved myself a lot of fucking money.
Look at her. This is fucking her. She's for a fucking minute and cost, like... How many people could you feed with that money?
Yeah, why would you do this?
I want to know. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell, I can't even find the Raws of the movie, let alone subs. But apparently, people like the OVA adaptation of it well enough, so,
Does Mother of Ultra show up in that too?
I don't know. That's what I want to know. I don't think so, but I don't know why she's in this movie.
You know where Mother of Ultra hasn't been? In Ultraman Taro the last few weeks, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of surprised, but she'll come
back. I'm sure she'll come back again. I guess they just don't want to have her, like, all the time.
Yeah, I'm just surprised because of how much, like, parent stuff we've been getting, with this show.
I mean, at the end of this last episode 13, you do get Kotaro thinking about his mom a bit when he sees, like, Nanbara waving off his mom. I guess the idea is, like, one, you don't want to have her all the time.
Yeah, so it is like special when she does show up.
And, like, Taro does have to grow up.
Yeah.
Be independent. So yeah, we'll get her back. And I presumably, as you'll see from the fact that she's in this 1985 movie, she's gonna stick around in the franchise.
Yeah. And even sometimes beyond the franchise.
Beyond, yeah, exactly.
For way too much fucking money. Do you have any more for color timers, or is it email time?
Just email time.
Here I go every day with the email.
Thank you, Strongbad.
Dear Strongbad. Hello, Ultra Q listener. What do you think the Cheat's favorite Ultraman series would be so far?
Oh, fuck, that's a tough one. Maybe Taro would be good because he is a fan of the Cheat Commandos playsets, and like this is the big vehicle-oriented one.
I think Pom Pom would be a 7-head.
Yes. Who would Bubs like?
I don't know.
I don't think he watches Ultraman.
No, he thinks it's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
I don't know what
Power Ranger shit out of here.
That's not what Bubs sounds like. That's not what Bubs sounds like.
Yeah, I can't pull it off my head right now. Hold on, I need to refamiliarize myself with Bubs.
I don't know. I feel like Strongbad would like Ultraman, but I still don't know what seasons.
Yeah.
And I think Strongsad would feel like he's too good for Ultraman. But he probably likes some other, like, Toku thing that Strongbad would make him fun of.
Hamsar really is fucking into Akio Chisoji. This is a good bit.
like everyone's just like, what are you talking about? And meanwhile he's just like cryptically like saying about like oh, this episode's been inspired by Alphaville. And no one understands it. Anyway, I hope some of you. I hope.
And then the pearls are eaten by the monster. Oh, thank you, Hamsar.
Some of our audience is probably too young for hope.
There's people listening to this like, what the fuck are these two talking about?
I saw someone made like a. This is like I made a Smash Bros for webtoons kind of thing, like Flash animation stuff, and like I got all the most popular web cartoon guys and put them here. And I was like, I looked at the roster and I was like, I literally only recognize Homestar and Salad Fingers. I'm sorry. And then they added Strong Bad in like the DLC picture they made as like for fun, and I'm like, wrong. Strong Bad should have been the base roster. Anyway, we have an email to read.
Yeah.
Before he got sidetracked by whatever the fuck that was.
Make a timestamp for the Homestar bit.
I'll see what I do. Anyway, it's Logan. He's back.
Hello.
Hi, bio-boosted Ultra Q. It's Guyver time.
It is Guyver time.
Sorry again for the long email, but it's been a while since I last emailed you guys. So far, I've been enjoying Taro a lot. As a proud member of the Hokuto Hayter Club, it's nice to have a main character I like again in Kotaro.
Yeah.
Kotaro fits right in the blooded sports craze of the early 70s anime. It also feels like it's trying to respond to the success of Mazinger Z, partly with a Zat uniform and helmets with their stupid fins. I didn't think it was that angle. I look at Mazinger Z.
I can like maybe kind of see it from what I remember. It's hard for me to get it pulled up because I'm just getting the robot, but it definitely feels like of that style.
Yeah, let me just see. Mazinger Z.
See, the problem is looking this up, you're just gonna get photos of the robot.
Yeah.
But,
I can see, like, it feels like they look at Koji Kabuto's helmet and just copied it, but changed it not to be caught, is what the email says, and I see Koji's helmet, and I go, you know what? Yeah, it's got the horns.
Yeah.
I see it. I definitely like it's lighter and more goofy tone compared to other Ultra series so far, but glad it can just be as unhinged as is the ending episode 6. Rip to Pochi. One complaint I have is that so far 2 members of the Zat crew have left the show, including the captain. What? Has he?
I
didn't know about that. I mean, he hasn't been these past 2 episodes, but I have to check.
I don't remember if I heard the captain leaving.
Yeah.
That may have happened, I just forgot, but I thought it was just the one guy.
Yeah, I'll look into that maybe later.
Unless... Is it captain as in the dad of the ship guy?
I mean, he was only in episode 1. He's like not even a recurrent character of the show.
Yeah.
No, looking at like the Ultraman Wiki, at least he's there to the end of the show. So,
maybe just
I guess he's just not in this episode. He was just chilling at base.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to assume things about Logan because I feel like it may come across as like maybe mean, but maybe he just saw Aragaki with the mustache and thought it was a different person, which I think is fair because he does not look as good of a person. But I don't want to assume. But yeah. If you mean like Asahina, he seems like he comes back. He's just not in these episodes. Oh yeah, but as long as like 2 or maybe just 1 have left the show, including the captain, making it a little hard to remember and care for the team members for me. And I guess that makes sense. Like, if they're changing out characters, it can be hard to like remember them as it is. I
do feel like they've been less interested in like. I mean, I guess we've been getting some stuff. Like we got the non-Bara stuff with his mom, but I feel like this one's been a little bit slower on actually wanting to give the team
making
stuff.
Guys.
Yeah.
They say it might be a problem in the future for like the next couple series. That's just the thing. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, it's Guyver time. This is my first time watching these 2 movies. For the longest time, I was confused The Guyver with the movie Star Kid, 1997, which I saw as a little kid that ripped off Guyver. I don't know about Star Kid at all. What's that?
I've never seen or heard of this. It's a 1997 American superhero film. It looks like it involves alien stuff.
And he's got like a suit.
Yeah.
That's
Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 4 stars.
It's not a good suit, that's for sure. I'll tell you that much. Now this may be controversial, but I like the first Guyver one better. While Dark Hero is David Hayter and a better action, you can feel its low budget and its lack of interesting characters.
It definitely has less budget, but I don't know if there's any character in the first one that I'm like.
It's not like I wouldn't say the state of the characters are better in the first movie. It's just like, there's nothing in either really. The movie may be the movie's desperately this movie desperately a memorable moment or characters for me, like Mark Hamill turning into Bug, or even Jeffrey Combs, who is actually related to Ultraman, transforming into a goat monster and getting murdered by the guy hanging himself free from the inside.
I do feel like it is a little bit lacking in like the big grandiose moments like that are like, really leaning into like, oh, we put all the budget in this. And again, I think, I do think that is just an unfortunate limitation of this being the, cheaper sequel to the original thing.
I did want to check what he meant by Jeffrey Combs being related to Ultraman. And yeah, he shows up in a future Ultraman thing, which we'll talk about when we get to it. Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Also, sound design was a little weird in this one. Oh yeah, they reminded some. They're bringing emails up something that I forgot to mention in my notes, but I noticed. Sound design was a little weird in this first tone, like the stock cat noises for the ride. I was so annoyed. Like,
oh yes, thank you. The meow meow when they're fighting, it's so weird and distracting. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Logan. Because
how did I forget this? It was like distracting in every fight. What were they doing?
Yeah, and there's like a weird like. One of them has like an elephant noise, but it's like deepened, like they made it lower pitch, and that distracted me too. But the cat is egregious, and so here's the thing: it would be one thing if they're like, okay, this one sounds like a cat, but they keep playing the same yowl on a loop.
Yeah.
Meow meow meow. It sounds like a weird alarm clock.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah. Overall, I was a little disappointed in it, and I wish that somehow both Guyver movies could be combined with the tone of Dark Hero and the budget and some of the interesting characters of the first movie. Thanks again for making the pod, Logan. P.S. Since you guys made me remember Star Kid, here's what the inside of the suit looks like. Now imagine me as a 3-year-old seeing this movie. I'm going to copy-paste it, first of all. If you just... Actually, I'm just going to send you this tweet with, like, because it sent this tweet in the email with, like, 4 different screenshots, and the second one is, like, particularly the face they sent, but,
Oh.
Yeah. That's fucked up. Do you see it?
This first one, oh god. You look so weird.
The second one is the picture they sent of the inside of the suit. Oh. Now imagine me as a 3-year-old seeing this movie and confronted with his horrific face talking to the little boy from Jurassic Park throughout the whole movie, and you'll understand why it stuck with me so long. Also, I think this movie would be fun to watch and laugh at how hard it tried to cash in on it and failing after seeing the Guyver movies. I'd even suffer through it again with you guys. I don't know if I'll commit to that, but anything's possible, I guess.
Yeah.
We have to pick up our backup shows, quote unquote, carefully.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, we're a bit more limited in like our like ability to do things budget. So
yeah, I am morbidly curious about this movie, though. It is also, fortunately, only an hour and 40 minutes long.
An hour and 40?
Yeah, it's 101 minutes.
Oh, wait, hold on. My brain for a reason turned an hour 40 to 140 minutes, which is like over 2 hours. And I was like...
No.
No. That's also like... Yeah.
101 minutes.
That's fine. I don't think I'll watch this, unless I was made to.
I might randomly put it on one day. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been a little movie pilled as of late.
I'm a bit too, but also I have to pick away some. I have to actually get away to pick away those movies that I need to watch. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you once again for your email, Logan.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah. Okay, now we can end it. That was the only thing we had.
Well, next week, you can join us. Hopefully all three of us. We'll see if Red's feeling better. I'd hope so. It sucked to be sick that long. For 3 episodes of Ultraman Taro.
And also
Ultraman Arc, finally.
Finally. How many months into the show and we're finally getting back to it?
And we're doing 3 through...
7.
7, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was 7 or 8. I couldn't remember.
I have seen 3 of these episodes, but that was when they aired months ago, and I have to probably speed through the...
I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah.
So...
And then we already have a date planned for when we'll do the next batch of Arc, and also the final Mirror Man batch, but we'll get to that. We'll talk about that more later. Yeah,
we don't want to we don't want to load up your plates with too much, so...
Yeah.
Yeah!
Also, I hadn't talked about it before, but the final main series Orgus Pod is recorded. That'll drop whenever. It's out of my hands when it happens, but... just know that I have finished that show. That pod is recorded, and it'll be in your feeds at some point.
So, at some point in my life, I will watch Orgus and then listen to that podcast.
It is an interesting series.
Like a overall good way, thumbs up, or overall bad, thumbs down way?
It is interesting.
Okay.
I will not commit to the quality.
All right.
I will just say, but before this, I was like, I wonder why Macross is the one that launched the franchise and not the others. And now I'm maybe a bit more understanding. But if you're curious, give it a watch. But if you're not curious, if you're just doing his homework, you don't have to watch it.
Yeah, I think Mel, have you seen Brain Powered?
Not yet.
I think I'm on the verge of being Brain Powered pilled again. I haven't downloaded it. I'm just I should watch this again.
I haven't watched it, but I should at some point.
The OP is really fucking good.
It is good. I've seen the OP at least.
Yeah.
Well, one day I'll watch it. I don't know when, but I'll see.
Yeah, but before then, go ahead and watch episodes 14 through 16, Ultraman Taro, episodes 3 through 7, Arc, and it will be good. Plugs. Mel, where can people find you?
At Dick Crowns on Twitter and Blue Sky. We have an email, ultqpod@gmail.com. We have the coffee, UltraQ Fund. Also, because Red's not here, the socials of the podcast is ultra_Q, that's QUE, on Twitter. And on Blue Sky, it's the same, except take out the underscore, because Blue Sky's like that.
Yeah, because they deleted underscores from existence. Yeah, I'm everywhere at Be Invoked. That's BE_INVOKED. Similar with Blue Sky, which I never fucking use. I should probably use Blue Sky more. Twitter's been annoying me as of late.
People are starting to use it again.
People are starting to move over, and also too,
it's starting to actually get more features that are necessary.
Yeah, and also too, I'm not gonna lie, so there are people on Twitter who are ride or die Twitter people that I'm in that camp too. Of this is just where I'm still posting the most. That are fun, and I will miss on Blue Sky if I do transition over there fully. But also too, some of the riffraff around on Twitter still that sometimes find your way into your mentions are starting to really get on my nerves, and I'm I don't know. I don't know if this is the vibe like it used to be anymore. Hot take, but yeah. I might start using Blue Sky more. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Also, I guess I don't know if we'll do it this week, but presumably we'll get back to Abyss a bit more now.
Yeah, hopefully.
And also, Halloween's coming up. You know what that means? Wink, wink.
Yeah. We're in the dark. Stalkers.
Can't wait to find out what happens to the fucking...
I don't remember. You know what? Here's the thing. I don't remember what happened in the first episode really all that much, and I don't care. I'm just gonna watch episode 2.
I think the bit
is funnier
if we don't actually check back in the recap.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's, it's the American show from the 90s. How much continuity could there be?
Yeah, true. All right. See ya, everyone.
See ya.
進め